I'm Derek, and this is Comic Fade. I hope you guys are all having an amazing Christmas Eve day, and I thought, why not make a video of my top 5 favorite Christmas movies? I think that the genre has so many possibilities, and it's a very rich genre, and although I'm Jewish, I'm a super big fan. I honestly wish they made more Christmas movies nowadays, and I don't really see a lot anymore. Regardless, I'm gonna count down my top 5 Christmas movies out of all the ones I've seen, and I haven't seen everyone. These are my favorites, and if you disagree with me, you can always disagree with me in the comments. Before we get into it, I have one honorable mention. There are a bunch of other Christmas films that I could just name out that I love, but there's one that came close to taking the last spot on this list, and that is White Christmas. I think it's the best Christmas musical. I consider it a musical. It can be a lot of times it's performed as a play. The dance numbers are fabulous. Puts you in that Christmas mood, and it's amazing, but sadly, it just, by a little edge, my number 5 kicked it out. Starting at number 5, I have a pick that I guarantee a lot of people won't have. Only came out 2 years ago, and it's by far the newest Christmas movie on my list, the most modern, and it's called The Night Before. If you didn't know, The Night Before is about these 3 friends who made it a tradition of doing these super cool activities every Christmas. Now that they're old and they all have different lives, except one of them, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, they decide this is their final Christmas and they want to get into this super amazing party. Although it might just seem like a Seth Rogen comedy at the beginning, it has a lot of emotional depth. Everyone gives a great performance. It has some hilarious jokes. It's kind of the Comic Fade crew. Me, Jacob, and Jeremy look exactly like the main characters, and I got the sweater from Seth Rogen. I'm sure, it isn't the best Christmas movie ever, but I find it hilarious, and it brings me joy to watch it, and I think it is one of the best in the last few years. Granted, there isn't a lot, but I love it dearly. Coming in at number 4, another different Christmas movie, which a lot of people would argue is not a Christmas movie, but what I'd argue that it is, and that is Die Hard. Perhaps the greatest action movie of all time. I'd say it's one of. It combines Christmas with action in such a fluid way, and it's also very funny. Bruce Willis gives one of his best performances as John McClane and makes him a character worth remembering. Alan Rickman as well gives an amazing performance as Hans Gruber. May he rest in peace. We miss him very much. The entire film, which could seem like just a surface-level action movie that, oh, look, there's an explosion, it has a great sense of its surrounding, and it's very atmospheric. Every character isn't just a stereotype. Even the cop, Al Powell, when I first saw it, I thought he was just going to be just a random character. He's actually given a backstory. It takes place during Christmas. You see them reference it a bunch of times. You hear some Christmas songs in it. When you look into the themes of Die Hard, a lot of them, in a weird way, come back to Christmas. Certain parts especially. It's one of the greatest action movies, and I think it's one of the greatest Christmas movies. Moving down into our top 3, at number 3 is the Christmas movie that I watch the most. Probably one of the movies movies in general that I watch the most. I'd say I watch it at least 4 times a year, and I think that's a little bit unhealthy. And that is Home Alone. It's one of those movies that, as a kid, I loved Home Alone. I'd say it's one of the first Christmas films I've ever seen, and maybe even the first. But after revisiting it as a young adult, I found even more. In every viewing, I pick up on new things, or I see things that I loved from the last time. It is by far the most rewatchable Christmas film of all time, I'd say. Macaulay Culkin gives a great performance, Joe Pesci as well, Daniel Stern. Moments of comedy are very underrated. I think that the comedic timing in this film is especially amazing and not talked about enough. It's what you wouldn't expect to be called a masterpiece, but in a way, I'd say that it is. I think that its rewatchability makes it amazing, and that it's such a great time, and it has those Christmas messages. It really represents kind of what a lot of things that I felt as a kid that I could relate to. I think everyone can relate to Home Alone, and that's why it's my number 3. Coming down to the final 2. Coming down into our last 2, my number 2 pick would be A Christmas Story. I am identical to the main character in A Christmas Story, which is why it's on this list. No, I think A Christmas Story is the best representation of a kid's Christmas, because every kid wants that present, and either their parents didn't get it for them, or they're not going to get it for them, and the whole film centers around this kid wanting a BB gun. But there's so much more in it. Again, every character I think has depth. I think that it's hilarious. It always makes me feel happy. And I feel like it's a bunch of stories mashed into a movie. I feel like it feels kind of like a journal, especially from the voiceover from the older Ralphie. You could see that kind of considered a journal. I think that it's him remarking on his younger years. It's fun, it's well written, it's well acted, and the best representation of the child's version of Christmas. And coming in at number 1, drum roll please. It's not a surprise. It's a Wonderful Life. I know I am not the only one to put this at my number 1. I'm pretty sure every other Christmas movie ranked list you watch will have this. I bet it won't have The Night Before at number 5 though. So we've touched upon in this list a bunch of different versions of Christmas. The Night Before, it's kind of a party film. Die Hard, it is an action film. A Christmas Story and Home Alone, about blonde kids. It's about childhood. And It's a Wonderful Life, I think, has the best theme of Christmas, and it doesn't portray Christmas in the same light as the others do. It's very dark for its PG rating. We get to see the main character throughout his life and his slow plunge into depression, and I'm sure if a kid watched it, they wouldn't be able to really pick it up, but I definitely saw it. It's about a man that learns to appreciate his life, and It's a Wonderful Life wasn't originally a Christmas movie, which speaks volumes. It originally came out in July, wasn't really associated with Christmas, but it gained that reputation because of its themes, and I think that is amazing. All the other ones are directly Christmas movies. I mean, Die Hard, yes, you guys can argue, but It's a Wonderful Life wasn't meant to be. I think it has some very underrated writing. It has some amazing speeches. It has, for 1946, some spectacular cinematography, and the black and white looks amazing. Maybe it was the remaster on my Blu-ray, but it looks fantastic. The direction is spot on, and Jimmy Stewart gives my favorite performance of his. Donna Reed is amazing. The end always gives me a very warm feeling. It puts me into that Christmas spirit, which these movies are supposed to be, and I think it exceeds all of these movies, but specifically It's a Wonderful Life exceeds the measures at which a Christmas movie is held to. And that wraps up my top 5 Christmas movies. Those are my top 5 favorite, and my recommendations to you guys. If you haven't seen all of these, I think you guys should definitely. They're all, except for Die Hard and The Night Before, they're all very great for family watches or anything like that. Guys, tell me, what are your guys' favorite Christmas movies? What puts you in that holiday spirit? How do you disagree with me? Tell me how I am completely wrong. And for now, let's give it up for actual Derek, who's gonna go on camera and say a bunch of cringy jokes, so. Oh hey, didn't see you there. So, this is me, I'm Derek. I don't think I've shown my face before on the channel, so this is a little bit new. After my Christmas video, this is dropping Christmas Eve. I'm recording this early, as we always do. And I just wanted to do a little Christmas message for you guys. I hope everybody in the world has a Merry Christmas, but I hope that especially people that watch Comic Fade videos, I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas, and it means the world to us. It's almost our 1-year anniversary, so you'll hear more of me thanking you guys then, but honestly, it really means the world to us. And not only Christmas, if you celebrate Hanukkah, which I do, which really doesn't explain the tree, but, or Kwanzaa, I just hope you guys have very happy holidays, and I hope you guys have an amazing time with your families, and if you do not have, company during Christmas, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Derek Garcia, if you just want to talk, and I hope everyone has a super Merry Christmas. I'll see you in the next one.